Kindle, first in the joint. Hey, you definitely got that. Look, I'm paying attention. So the neck in the house, close second. You feel me? Russell in here. Here as okay. Where everybody watching from? Where everybody watching from? We about to get this thing started. We in Bridgeport, Connecticut in the house. Okay. Got Cali. Haitian building. Let's get it. And Puerto Rico. What's up, hi Charlie? Dallas in the house. Texas, Missouri. You spelled that wrong, but I got you though. I do it too. Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Port, whatever that was. I look, it's going too fast now. Look, man. All right. How y'all doing tonight? Everybody doing tonight? I'm not tired tonight, yo. So we can do this. You feel me? I was gonna get on here last night, but I was tired, man. I be up doing a bunch of research, y'all. Sitting here binging out. You can probably tell by like my eyes, bro. I be sitting here taking notes, going over videos, educating myself. You know, that's the best thing to do. Is sit here and educate yourself. You can't be influenced by anything else. Got New York in the house, Texas in the house, Miami. Yes, sir. Let's get it. You know, y'all ready for this video? Put this video together the other day. All right, yo, we just gonna hop straight into it then. Man, ain't got to throw up the nines. I already know y'all ready.
I think it's time we finally talk about what really happens when you die. This is a really complicated topic and I'm actually kind of excited. Okay, first understand this. Scientifically, death doesn't really exist, only renewal, as energy never really dies, it only transfers. Every living thing that emits its own energy has something called a soul print, or what we call a soul. And because crystals, planets, galaxies all emit energy, scientifically they're living things as well. You have multiple bodies, including the astral body that you use when you astral project or traverse outside your body. The third dimension is actually one of the densest dimensions to be in, which is what we call the physical. The fourth dimension, which is just above us, is the spirit realm. Your soul or spirit is you, but to exist in this dimension, you need a physical vessel to drive around in like a vehicle. Now, when you die, you no longer have that physical part of you, which means you're not bound by physical laws anymore, and you're left with your other bodies. In simple terms, you're a ghost. People that don't want to move on from the physical or are attached to the physical stay as ghosts, and they try to complete whatever agenda they have in the astral realm. This path can sometimes lead to what is called lost souls, where they're afraid to move on or don't want to move on, and they stay like this for hundreds of years. If they decide to move on, they walk through this light portal, which brings you to the realm where you choose where you want to incarnate next. Partly of where the idea of heaven and hell comes from is the type of astral realm you go to when you die. If you are a positive or high vibrational person, you will end up in the higher astral realms, which are very heaven-like. Remember, this is before you walk through the portal, not after. If you are a negative or low vibrational person, you will end up in the astral realm that best aligns with your vibration, which is the lower astral realm, and where people that are dark or in pain end up going to. We'll talk more about heaven and hell and its origins soon because it's very multi-layered. Truth is, you never really die. You are an infinite being, and this is science.
And this is just a meat suit, y'all. Message. You know what I'm saying? Have y'all seen that movie Soul? If you've seen the movie Soul, then you'll get a deeper under. For the people that never seen the movie Soul, I suggest y'all go check that out. Go check out the movie. It's pretty dope. And look, man, basically the dude dies. He goes into like he's about to get the biggest break of his whole career. Like his whole life he's been a musician, and he's about to get his break, and everything is going well, and then the nigga dies. And he's trying to come back to his body and stuff like that, and he goes through this whole journey and finding out like the purpose of life and everything else like that. And he helps these other souls appreciate life, the soul that don't want to come back to the physical body, convinces them basically to come back And it's just it's a movie. I don't want to give too much away. That's why I'm speaking in like parts. I don't like to ruin movies for people, but it's a dope watch. Y'all go check that out, and it'll give you a deeper understanding. And guess what? One of the parts in the movie, one of the spiritual guides, told this dude when he came to Earth looking, because the dude escaped. He got back to his body, right? So the guide was back looking for him on Earth, and he grabbed the wrong person, and he told him, "You'll be okay as long as you stop eating this processed foods." And he told him again, so stay away from the processed foods. And when he was speaking to him, you just got to see the movie to understand, he was like a potato chip in a bag talking to him. So stay away from these processed foods, you know? So they tell you a lot in these movies, man. You just gotta be hip.
There's nothing new under the sun, and anything you think of doing has already been done.
You can watch it on
Netflix. Of a
Netflix.
headless woman from the late 1800s, and it's proof that even back then they had Photoshop. And no, this is not Back to the Future, but here we have a military hoverboard from World War I. And this is an 800-year-old mobile phone found by archaeologists in Austria. And I'm sure you've all seen this vehicle.
I appreciate it.
It was in the film Men in Black, and I've never seen nothing like this before. This is truly an invention of the past. And here we have an electric scooter from the 1800s. And here we have a robot that can transport people. And here's another robot from the late 1800s.
Message. Ain't nothing new, man. Ain't nothing new, y'all.
I'm pretty sure everybody finds the Bible interesting. The omnipresent God who was always presented perfect and Caucasian. He had a son who was to be sacrificed for the sins of people that he created. The damnation of mankind is blamed on all women. We shall be cursed because we ate an apple. The purity of a woman shall wear non-revealing clothes. A woman should learn in quietness and full submission. You do not have authority over a man. If a man was to get into a fight and he is getting beaten, and say for instance the woman tries to save her husband by kicking him in the... she must have her hand cut off.
What?
And let's not forget that God tests your faith. If he says so, sacrifice your child. But then when you're about to do it, he just says, no, I'm just playing. Let's not forget, if there was a man and he was attracted to a woman and he seizes her, and we can take that out of context, it could be rape or just relations. He shall give the father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he violated her. Now we know that women were subdued into marriage at as early as 12. Marriage would have consummated when the girl reached puberty. Oh my gosh, let's not forget, anyone who does not obey the Son will never experience eternal life, but remains under God's angry judgment. And I don't even want to talk about the animal sacrifices. But let's just get on David real quick. He was told to bring back 100 foreskins just to get married to a girl. And I'm pretty sure y'all know what foreskin is. Yeah. But he didn't just bring back 100. He brought back 200. Now, I don't know about Miss Damsel, but I wouldn't be wanting to marry a man who cut off skin. You gotta be crazy for you to be pulling off skin. But that's just a few things that I wanted to get off my chest today. Like, the Bible is just savage. But y'all stay dangerous, and I hope she okay.
Hey, y'all see how he had all the foreskins in his hand? That was... I'm weak. Look, I seen somebody said, that's not what it says. Look, you got to understand, this thing has been translated 1,000,000 times. So, I mean, in one of those versions, it probably said that shit, you know? Don't get in your feelings. We ain't going to do that tonight. You can have your feelings somewhere else now. It's not what we here for.
Can you explain the different dimensions of space in a way that I can understand?
Yeah, it did escalate quick, didn't it?
So according to M theory, there's a total of 11 dimensions, 0 to 10.
And we live in the third dimension, right?
Well, we live in a 3-dimensional world on the 4th dimensional plane, which is time. But a little disclaimer before we start. Even though we know there's higher dimensions than ours, we can't even begin to perceive them. So any dimension after the...
Hey, look, my G he was an overachiever too. He came back with more foreskins than what they told him to.
That's purely theoretical. Got it?
I think so.
So the 0th dimension is like a dot. It has no length, no width, no height. Done. An object in the 1st dimension will be summed like a line. It only has one dimension, which is its length. Period.
An object in the 2nd dimension has non-zero area but 0 volume. So no height, no depth, no nothing like that. Bing bong, easy.
An object in the 3rd dimension, well, look around you, baby. We in the 3rd. Time is considered the 4th dimension. It allows objects to change their location and position in space. Simples. Now those are the 4 dimensions that can be perceived by us humans.
Yeah, those are the boring ones. Let's get into 5D.
Okay, fine. In part 2.
Most of the foods that everyone eats contain high amounts of a dangerous chemical called glyphosate. Glyphosate is the active ingredient in a weed killer or herbicide called Roundup. Now recently in 2022, it was discovered that 80% of Americans had this weed killer in their urine, which means that most people watching this video right now have literally pissed out weed killer today. Now this is because Roundup is sprayed directly over all genetically modified foods, which make up most of the food in the US. It is also sprayed directly over things like wheat and oats, which also form part of nearly everyone's diet. What's crazy is that this chemical has not only been tied to things like cancer, but also things like liver and kidney damage, and reproductive and developmental issues. It's also been shown to affect your gut health, which if you didn't know actually affects your mental health. As you can see from this study, glyphosate affecting the gut of mice actually led them to have anxiety and depression. So in short, this is not something that you want to have in your body or that you want to be consuming with the foods that you eat. So I recommend you to stop buying GMOs and get organic foods only. Also try to avoid wheat and oats. And if you can, grow your own food. And better yet, detox your body from this chemical. Zeolite is something that's actually been shown to do this. It's a natural mineral with unique properties that actually takes out toxins from your body, as it basically attracts all positively charged toxins and actually traps them in its cage.
Hey, I'm gonna give y'all time to write that down. Zeolite. You know, there's many different ways that you can help yourself, get through shit that they're doing, to the foods and stuff. That's why when you go to the store, it's very important to get the non-GMO food. And then when you even see the non-GMO, check and see if it's non-GMO. You can read the labels. They got certain apps that you can scan to make sure that it is. It's a bunch of things that you can do. But I would say start growing y'all shit. I'm gonna put the links in there for the stuff that I have to grow my food. And on my next video, I got y'all. I ain't doing it tonight. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
Like structure. And then when it leaves your body, it takes the toxins out with it. Now these are the zeolite supplements I use. You can find the link to them in my bio. My link will also help you get them for $50 off. And if you want to know about more things affecting your health, I literally just made a YouTube video about all of this, including things on zeolite, glyphosate, fluoride, and literally everything. The link for that is in my bio. Much love guys, stay alive, stay aware. Peace.
Go to your doctor, get your blood work done. Real talk. Your urine.
But y'all gotta get this before y'all take a side. According to the KGB materials, a quite low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer appeared above a military unit that was conducting routine training maneuvers. For unknown reasons, somebody unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile to hit the UFO. It fell to the earth not far away, and 5 short humanoids with, quote, large heads and large black eyes emerged from it. It is stated in the testimony by the 2 soldiers who remained alive that after freeing themselves from the debris, the aliens came close together and then merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. That object began to buzz, hiss sharply, and then became brilliant white. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomena turned into stone poles. Only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived. And this was only one out of the hundreds of pages included in this report. And so I don't know where the rest is, but classified or declassified.
Look, y'all gotta understand too, like this information is not like necessarily new. Y'all can go out there yourselves. You go to the website, but they're only going to release certain things to you. But the person that released a lot of stuff onto the internet, we all know Snowden. I don't even know if I should be saying his damn name, but you know, he released those documents, and see certain things they have no choice but to release them because he already exposed a lot of this shit like a long time ago.
Let's talk about the giants. Little do a lot of people know, things was a lot bigger back in the day. Trees, animals. They even said before trees, there was giant mushrooms covering the earth. The giant prehistoric mushrooms that cover earth before trees appeared about 400 million years ago. And guess what? We were bigger too. There's multiple Egyptian hieroglyphics that lead to the proof of giants. They even found the skeleton of giants. Take a look at these steps that's in Egypt. Look at the size of a step and the size of a person. Who would make these steps for people to walk on? Now the pyramids. Look at one brick compared to a human. So you telling me that regular sized humans made all this shit? I don't care if you have 1 million of the most strongest people in the world. You're not building this. Y'all don't believe in giants, but y'all believe that regular humans made the pyramids? Now let's talk about the trees. These mountains ain't nothing but cut down trees. Take a look again. You're gonna sit here and tell me that all this shit is a coincidence. Pay close attention to all of it. See it now? Those were trees. Follow for more.
2022 just got even crazier. Part 47. Firstly, there's a rumor going around on the internet that there's a real-life zombie apocalypse starting in China, but I find this questionable. See, this all started after a video was released from security camera of a man getting up after he was presumably dead, and some people are excited about this, but I believe this is just a hoax. Next, a distorted bear cub was rescued in Turkey after it was found eating too much honey. However, it wasn't just any honey, it was called mad honey that causes extreme hallucinations, but thankfully the bear is okay. Finally, scientists have been experimenting with something called necrobotics. It's when they turn the dead body of an animal into a robot. For instance, with this spider, they injected a certain type of liquid in it and it was able to lift something 100 times its body weight. The world is scary.
You gotta think though, why the hell are they out here doing that? You know? Like, really, like, let's take, bro, why are they really out here doing that? What's the purpose? You feel me? If it's not, but we can just fill in the gaps. Because we gotta ask good questions when it comes to this stuff, because there's not no real good answer for that. Well, fucking what? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what they trying to do. Y'all niggas gonna turn into. I ain't gonna say it. I can't say it on here, but you get what I'm saying. People that's been watching me for a while, y'all know what that is.
A shocking new report has just revealed that humans have wiped out 70% of animal populations in just the last 50 years. And to put these numbers in perspective, it is the human equivalent of losing all the people in Europe, the Americas, Africa, Oceania, and China combined. And if you look at the loss of animals by region, Latin America lost a staggering 94% of its animal species. Africa is down 66%, Asia and Pacific is down 55%, North America lost 20%, and Europe stands at an 18% loss. The report also states that the causes for this dramatic decline were directly linked to humans, and it included things like our food production, harvesting of materials, constructions of towns and cities, pollution, climate change, and the list goes on. In December, almost 200 world leaders are going to meet to address these issues and agree to new targets for 2030. None of the targets that were set in 2020 were met.
Let's talk about GJ1214b.
They don't be doing shit.
So yes, this planet is basically all water. It's one of the closer exoplanets that we've been able to study. It's about 40 light years away, and it is in the Milky Way galaxy. Since it's so close, we've been able to determine its mass, its atmosphere, and its size. Its mass is about 6 times more than that of Earth. But the thing is that Earth's ocean covers about 70% of the planet, but only makes up 0.005% of its mass. The water on this planet makes up 10% of its mass. This means that the water stretches much further closer to the core, and the oceans are incredibly deep. Now, while a thick atmosphere and very high pressure may make it hard for us to live there, we have to consider that living conditions on other planets may not be similar to what they are on Earth. I couldn't imagine what kind of creatures this planet might hold.
There's some shit I ain't fucking with. I ain't messing with that water like that. I'm cool, bro.
2022 just got even crazier, part 44. Firstly, this is bizarre. A gang of monkeys have been going around terrorizing a city in Japan, attacking dozens of people, and no one really knows why. And these monkeys are trying to snatch babies, claw at people's flesh, and the police are now turning to tranquilizer guns to stop the monkeys. It looks like we're about to have a real-life version of Planet of the Apes. Next, the Earth is currently spinning faster than ever, and on July 29th, we experienced the shortest day in history, 1.59 milliseconds less than 24 hours. I mean, hey, this is gonna go in the history books. Now, a deadly bacteria known as Burkholderia has been found in US soil for the first time. And if you come in contact with it, it could cause a disease known as melioidosis, and this is fatal in half of its cases. Finally, we do have some good news because after 2 years of being extinct, the Spix macaw bird has been found in Brazil. Does this mean we're getting a live-action Rio movie now?
Nothing is actually extinct when it comes to us, man. We got so much technology as far as like cloning and all that other stuff, bro. That these things aren't extinct. They're preserved.
The story of Job. Now in the Bible they talk about the story of the character named Job. Job always worshiped God. He was one of God's favorite servants. He had a big family, so many animals, he had everything. It says in the story that Satan talked to God. He told God that Job only worships him because he gives him whatever he wants. He told God that if he were to take that stuff away, then Job would curse his name and no longer worship him. So God accepts the devil's challenge. So then God takes everything away from Job, take away his kids, his family, his animals, everything. And then after everything that has been taken away, Job still worships God and praises God. Now God just successfully proved the point to the devil. So then, long story short, after all the hell that God put Job through, he finally reimburses him with everything. But I feel like people's not even thinking about the fact that God just got manipulated by the fucking devil. I feel like he needed to destroy his favorite worshiper's life to prove a point to Satan. And before y'all say that's not manipulate literally means to control or influence a person or situation. So the devil just got into the almighty God's head to destroy Job's life. Even if he got everything back, he still destroyed it in the first place. That whole story is just symbolic to staying positive in tough times. Stay positive and still be grateful even when things are going bad, then the universe will reward you. Everybody goes through tests in life, and that's all bad shit is, it's just tests. Staying positive and staying grateful helps you attract better things in your life. When I make these videos, I'm not trying to bash nobody's beliefs. I'm just trying to let y'all know the truth about life. The humans that wrote the Bible knows the truth about life. So now they take the truth and put it into a story, and now they give you his story. Now you think that his story is actually history that happened. But I love y'all.
Hey, real talk though, like for y'all, man, you be going through stuff in life, but y'all gotta understand, man, when it comes to this stuff, bro, you can't, like, I want to hit on this point because that's what I'm all about. That's what my channel is all about. No matter where you come from, and this is real talk, like, do not ever just beat yourself up and think that you going through this by yourself. Other people are going through things too, but we're gonna have to grow mentally and spiritually to the point where we can't let these small things affect who we are as people. We're gonna have to keep going and pressing forward. If you want to dwell in that negative energy, then it's going to consume you. It's going to consume you. Like, I'm going through things and people are manipulating, right? And I know that they're manipulating, right? And that they're doing stuff that they're not supposed to. I can't really speak on it that much right now. Get into detail, I'll tell y'all later. But they're manipulating and I know what they're doing, so therefore I can't let that control how I feel and make me all out of, I start acting outside of myself. So therefore I have to stay strong for me and my family and everything, and keep this shit afloat. We got to keep moving forward. You can't be consumed. When you know that somebody's intentionally doing something to try to get to you, you can't let that has no power over you because you already know what it is. That's why I tell you, I get an understanding for life, get an understanding for why things are the way they are, and it'll help you out in the long run. Let's get back to it. That's why I be happy.
The theoretical opposite of a black hole is a white hole. Black holes eat all the things around them and then trap light and nothing can ever escape. White holes then would spit out matter and light and nothing could ever enter. So white holes would look like a black hole, but backwards. They would even look black until they burped out some energy, so white hole isn't a great name. Black holes and white holes would be connected through wormholes, which are tunnels through space-time, potentially to other universes. So if a black hole absorbed matter, that matter would travel through the wormhole and be spit out by the white hole, wherever that is. In another universe, maybe. Because if wormholes do exist, it wouldn't make sense for there to be a black hole on either side, because then matter couldn't escape at either end, and then all of the matter would be stuck right here. But that would also mean that we would probably see white holes here spewing matter, and we don't. Although it's possible that we're not looking at the right time, because again, they would look just like black holes until they burped. You never know. We've never seen a white hole, and we have no evidence for them, but we're still trying to understand physics.
Yeah, we're babies when it comes to the universe.
Yesterday, I made a video talking about a strange theory that claims that we cannot actually get to outer space because there's a glass ceiling over our entire world. And a lot of you had a lot of good questions and comments that you believed should debunk this theory pretty quickly. For starters, most people have wondered how anyone could believe that we can't get to outer space since we have satellites. But what's interesting is that most satellites still are technically within the Earth's atmosphere since they occupy the thermosphere and the exosphere. And this is the same for the Hubble telescope and the ISS, which are both currently in the thermosphere, which is considered as low Earth orbit, which they can't get past. But don't take my word for it, listen to what the astronauts say themselves.
To destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these.
Also mentioned in previous videos how Wernher von Braun, also considered the father of NASA, left a Bible verse on his tombstone that talks about the firmament. The definition of a firmament is a solid expanse in the sky. There's actually a lot more evidence and explanations to this theory altogether. Leave a like if you want me to talk more about it, and leave your opinion about all this in the comments.
Yeah, I see y'all saying in the comments, the girl said the shit about the white hole. Look, I be ignoring bullshit, but look, man, sometimes you just gotta let it slide, man. Like, whatever, bro. We can't get engulfed in that. That's bull. But y'all see what he said though. Y'all see what he said, and then y'all be seeing the stuff that on the last video what the pilot was saying. That the ship's flat. That it's a dome up there. Essentially, that's what he said. They don't, bruh. If they can send those satellites out a lot farther, they would. They go through portals to get to places out of space, man.
Did you know that the cure for cancer has already been found? In 1938, a scientist named Dr. Royal Raymond Rife cured 16 cancer patients using frequencies and resonance. After creating the world's most powerful microscope in the 1920s to study viruses and bacteria, he realized he could use electromagnetic frequencies to destroy these viruses. He discovered that every cell and molecule vibrates at its own distinct frequency, and that by beaming plasma rays of the same frequency at those cells, you actually amplify their frequency and destroy them. This happens because of something known as resonance. When two things of the same frequency come together, they actually amplify each other's frequency. This is actually how opera singers are able to destroy wine glasses. When their voice matches the resonant frequency of the glass, it makes the glass vibrate at a higher frequency, making it vibrate more intensely and causing it to shatter. Resonance can basically amplify the vibration of anything and destroy it, from something as small as a wine glass to something as large as a bridge. Now in the same way, Rife created a device that could shatter cells by matching the resonant frequency. By sending an impulse of electromagnetic waves of the same frequency as the cell, you amplify its vibration and disintegrate it. When he did, his Rife machine destroyed 60% of the cancer cells in his patients. Now sadly, some greedy people at the time thought that this was bad for the medical business and getting money from cancer patients, so they found ways to destroy Rife's career and his new invention. Even on Google, some pages like Medical News still tell you that this device is a hoax. Now this would be believable if other people had not reproduced the same results also using frequencies and resonance, such as this guy from TED Talks who also discovered electric fields of certain frequencies destroyed cancer cells.
We now know that cancer is vulnerable between the frequencies of 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz. So now we attack leukemia cells.
He then shows how he destroyed leukemia cells and also pancreatic cancer cells using resonance, also being able to destroy 60% of cells like Rife did and slowing the growth rate of cancer by 65%. And here's another video of another person also discovering a very similar thing, by using a technique called histotripsy, which uses sound waves to destroy cancer tissue, also by matching the cancer's resonant frequency. All of this has now been called resonant frequency therapy if you want to look it up further. And keep in mind, if any medical website tries to say that it's fake, it could be because the cancer industry is literally $1.58 billion. And this frequency treatment would get rid of all the things that generate that money.
Just keep that in mind.
You already know what it is. We ain't even gonna stop right there.
Here's some information spoken about
I know
reptilians by government officials and ex-government workers. The reptilians are known to be part of a grander empire that goes by many different names, mainly the Draconian Empire, which is basically a dark force. They have been visiting Earth since its creation, and they have been known to do genetic experiments on humans and animals, especially during the time of the dinosaurs. They have been known for infiltrating less advanced planets by first offering technology in exchange for resources, because they know that these civilizations are looking for technological advancements. Infiltrating planets from the inside is their specialty, and it is easier to take over civilizations using this technique, which is exactly what they're doing for Earth. This is why you hear a lot about elites being reptilians or having reptilian connections, because they're doing this exact same technique for Earth through the elites. Apparently they have a hierarchical system which includes the elite reptilians having wings, and I keep hearing about this through government officials, CIA agents, people who channel ETs, and it's even depicted in movies. Throughout my research, I keep coming across that at the top of their hierarchical system are dragons, and they haven't polarized the positive or negative, they're neutral. So many shamans have told me this too. They have chosen to advance technologically instead of spiritually, meaning that they have chosen not to advance spiritually at all and repel anything related to the universe and love. This is very common for lower vibrational civilizations. This may also surprise you, but not all reptilians are bad. There are actually split off groups that are high vibrational and are traveling far and wide across the universe to help civilizations like ours. Overall, I want you to know that this civilization has millions of years of history in our universe, and especially on our planet. If they aren't one of the most ancient, they're one of the most dangerous.
I wanna do something right now. Look at this. Check this out, y'all. So y'all just seen that piece right there. All right, say we get to the point that, you know what I'm saying, we're ascending, right? And we're traveling galaxies. Put 6s in the chat if you think that, put 9s in the chat if you will help people. If you think that you would just be on a mission to help other planets and stuff like that, lower dimensional beings. Or put them 6s if you just don't give a damn and you just out for yourself. Somebody said he looked like a reptilian. Leave that boy alone. Let's see. Like, if you gonna put a 6, just go ahead and tell the truth. We got them 9s though. Okay, we strong. Jose De La Cruz, I appreciate you. Okay, bad. Look, man, we got a dope group. Somebody said 6'9", 6'9". That's funny. 6. Some people don't care. All right, so y'all gotta understand, when we were talking about the Anunnaki, it's different groups. You know, just like us, we got people that give a fuck. We got people that don't. And that would be the divide of us, you know? I'm gonna be with the 9s though, because, you know, I think that would be cool to travel different fucking galaxies and help different, you know, different galaxies, different planets. It's crazy to even speak like that, right? But yeah, I think that'd be lit. All right, bet. We got them 9s going crazy. All right, let's get back to it. Some of y'all ain't shit though.
Oh,
I still love y'all
son
though.
of a bitch. You think you're smart. You really think you're clever. The minute we found out what really happened on Easter Island,
got a real question.
You set the whole place on fire. I don't think you guys saw my Easter Island mud flood video saying that there was a mud flood on Easter Island and the statues were buried and the true history of Easter Island hasn't been told. And then what happens? The whole place has been set on fire. They're saying the damage that has been done is unrepairable. They're saying it was deliberately done. Now, who would set Easter Island on fire? This is what they do in every reset. In every city with major buildings, they have a fire. Everywhere, all over the world, a mysterious fire. Oh, we've got your ass.
Somebody said the Anunnaki were evil. Nah, you gotta think there's different groups. There's agreeable and disagreeable. We can put that together ourselves what that is. So they're not all like that. Just like, you know, we can break that down in sections of, you know, humans and animals. Not all white people are bad. Not all black people are bad. Some of y'all is just fucked up people. The way it is, and that starts with a separate, you know, below is up top. Top is below. It's a direct reflection of our universe. That's just how it is.
Got your ass now.
Crazy space events that will happen in your lifetime. Firstly, in August 2027, the second longest solar eclipse will happen in our century. It will last a solid 6 minutes and 23 seconds, but the longest solar eclipse will be in 2186. Next, in 2029, the asteroid 99942, which is the size of over 3 football fields, will pass between the moon and Earth, and according to online resources, it's a 2.7 chance of impacting Earth. Now, in 2031, NASA plans to crash the International Space Station into the ocean at a place known as Point Nemo, which is the place where it is furthest away from humanity. Moving on, in 2040, a rare 5-planet alignment will happen that will be visible to the human eye. And finally, according to Elon Musk, by the 2060s, there will be 1 million people on Mars. So are you going?
Y'all going to Mars? I ain't going with them niggas. I'm cool.
So, no shade, no hate.
I'm not going with all those rich people to be oppressed over there. Like, shit, I'm already fucked up here, you know? Like, for what?
Because they didn't want people to know that the Egyptians were
be
black.
missing her nose, just like all the other
land
ones.
of Kemet, Kemet meaning black, the land of blacks to me. But to not go into that, they cut the nose off of Cleopatra as well to, you know, same reason for the Pharaoh. Or the Sphinx, who was, you know. So not only did they cut off her nose, you can see the texture of her hair, and if you want to say this is some type of curly and not coarse and kinky. So no, it's not some Afrocentric, like we trying to take history. No, we're trying to correct the history that was stolen from us. They try to say she's not Egyptian. Nose cut off here. Debatable. Look at her head. Debatable. Her sister also. He said that there was only one known bust. That's not true. Looks pretty Egyptian. Pretty black. There's a lot more I could say about Cleopatra,
We can go
but
on
I
and
feel like
on.
people should do their own research and stop believing everything on TikTok. Like, y'all really didn't want to believe she was black? Egypt was once all black. I know the Greeks and Romans invaded, but it was called an invasion for a reason. Your history was stolen. They burnt the Library of Alexandria and took the Sphinx nose off Napoleon, so they didn't know he was black. But let me end my rant. I'm out.
Everyone needs to know what is.
Hey, that's a fact though. Like, so a lot of people, you know, they want to get in their feelings about this shit because everybody's trying to claim some shit that ain't theirs. But you know, those pyramids too as well, they didn't look like that. Most people don't even know that they're not supposed to look like fucking steps going all the way up to the top. That was encased in material. It got looted once that shit was taken over. Statues were fucked up. Everything, you know, like all that shit got looted. Shit got burnt. They want to delete your history, just like they're trying to tell you where the hell you came from. They got people doing DNA tests, and people started sending in dog hair. And guess what? They was sending that shit back saying, "Oh, you're 90% this, you know, you're 90%, like, no, this is dog hair, and I set y'all up." And that's crazy. But then the owner of the company was on the TV show and said, "Goddamn, that this shit is like 0.0% accurate, 0.01% accurate." So, you know, go ahead and knock yourself out, man. They gonna just tell y'all anything. They be telling white people, "Oh yeah, you 90% Nigerian and shit." Like, stop, cut this shit out.
Happening in Haiti right now. An armed group is currently holding Haiti's main gas terminal at ransom, and for perspective, this is where they receive 80% of their fuel, and without it, the country is literally coming to a breaking point. This rebel group called G9 and Family is demanding that the current president step down and that the country have new leadership that will help the mass of people who are currently living in the worst poverty in the Western Hemisphere. The UN reports that a record 4.7 million people in Haiti are facing acute hunger, a huge cholera outbreak due to the lack of clean water, and a lack of basic human necessities like education, housing, jobs, etc. And then just to inflame the situation even further, Haiti's government made the decision to seek foreign military assistance to combat these gangs, which resulted in what you are seeing now. Thousands of angry residents have been filling the streets because they don't want foreign interference. However, it is now being reported that the US is deploying an elite disaster response team to Haiti. So the question is, do you think that foreign countries should get involved or not?
I appreciate that, Shay Love. Dang. I appreciate that. Spread love and truth. Have you heard of the machine found in Water Atlantis? Yep. Exactly. I definitely heard of it. And I'm doing more research on it, so therefore I can talk about it. You know, I can be a little bit more versed in what's going on.
Did y'all know wind is actually the effect of a powerful energy source? When y'all see wind being blown and tornadoes and storms happening, do y'all really think that that's happening for no reason? Is it just a natural cause or a natural disaster? This video is definitely going out to the air sign. Yeah, these blinds is closed. When you look up the definition of wind, it's moving air caused by uneven heating of the earth by the sun. I mean, just think about it. Every single time in anime, when a person powers up, wind is just going crazy around them.
Yeah.
It's the literal effect of energy. When I was in middle school, I even asked my teacher, well, how does wind blow? Something kinetically has to be moving in order for it to take that effect. He actually told me that wind comes from the cold areas of the North Pole and the South Pole. But you know, that didn't never make sense to me. Wind is actual energy. That's why it's used for electricity. Every time Storm powers up, she has electricity walking around her. That's why lightning happens when it storms. And it all has to come from a source. Someone, something, some being has to be conducting a powerful energy in order for this wind to happen and this fan to blow. And they have figured out how to transfer that wind into the benefit of their electricity and energy. Because they know when these storms happen, that's these beings on the other side powering up. Wind is a physical effect of energy around us. You ever heard somebody say, I don't like the feel of this wind? Something is about to happen? Because they can feel the energy of the wind that something is about to happen. There's a lot more going on with these thunderstorms, wind, and lightning. So when you see wind blowing, something is conducting energy, especially on the other side. So y'all stay dangerous.
Hey, you know what's crazy? That's why animals are able to like, oh yeah, some shit about to go down, and they be climbing up the mountains and shit while we just sitting here about to get torn to pieces by whatever the fuck is coming. That's why that's why that happens. See, animals don't start to do shit outside of their norm. They don't eat foods that they're not supposed to eat unless it's like extreme times, you know, but they are still connected with nature, and we're not. We got shoes on. We don't walk with our feet on the ground. None of that shit. We're not grounded with the earth. None of that. That's why we got plastic soles and all that shit under our feet, you know, to disconnect us from Mother Earth. And these animals, they still connected, and they know when some shit coming. That's why we gotta like pay more attention. That shit's real. It's crazy though. Animals be looking at us like, damn, y'all motherfuckers stupid.
Once you understand this symbol, it can literally change your life, and here's how. The concept of yin and yang started in China but quickly spread across the globe. This is because people realize that this applies to everything in life, including our own. And here are some examples of how this concept is used in your everyday life. It cannot be light without it being dark. Being hot wouldn't exist if being cold didn't exist. You could be having the best day of your life with everything going perfect, but other days may not be as good because everything went wrong. So if you really think about it, yin and yang really dictates everything in our life. But you can actually use yin and yang to help change your life. When things aren't going your way, don't react in a negative or angry way because it won't stay like that forever. Remember that everything will come back around in your favor and you will have good days again. This is why there's a white dot in the black and a black dot in the white, because with the good comes the bad and with the bad comes the good. Understanding the principles of yin and yang will ultimately change your life because then you know how to use it.
There's a hidden meaning behind every single religion in the world. Now, every single religion is true in one way or another. They are true when understood metaphorically, not literally. There's a lot of deep esoteric wisdom in many ancient texts, but they can only be seen when understood metaphorically, not literally. Alright, now let me show you. This is the flower of life. It is basically a two-dimensional representation of the creation of the universe. It reminds us of the unity that underlies all things and that we're all built from the same blueprint. Now this is the seed of life formed by the first 7 circles within the flower of life. It is also the hidden meaning behind the 7 days of creation that we see in Genesis. Now according to the text, in the beginning, earth was dark, empty, and formless. This symbolizes that in the beginning there was only void space or emptiness and the creative force or consciousness. It should also be understood that God is not literally a man sitting in the sky, but rather metaphorically symbolizes a primal force or divine energy that makes up all things. In the beginning, the first thing this force did was expand its awareness and create a sphere of awareness around itself. This is why the circle represents eternity and infinity, or the force of creation. God is a circle whose center is everywhere and circumference nowhere. The second thing it did was create a reflection of itself, making 2 circles known as the Vesica Pisces. The Vesica Pisces is incredibly important as it literally makes the geometry of light. It is also the first day of Genesis, which is why on the first day God says, "Let there be light." The Vesica Pisces also appears in nearly all of the major religions, as saints, prophets, or highly realized beings are all portrayed with the Vesica Pisces. The symbol for Jesus is also just an incomplete version of the Vesica Pisces, yet they have you believe that it's a fish. The third thing it did is move exactly 1 radius away from the center of that circle, making 3 circles. This movement also influences the symbol known as the Sacred Trinity, one of the most important symbols in Christianity, which again shows us that the true and hidden meaning of religion is literally sacred geometry. Okay, so on the 3rd day of creation, another circle is added, then on the 4th another, on the 5th another, and on the 6th the seed of life or Genesis pattern is created. This is why it says that on the 6th day creation is completed, because the seed of life is finally formed. As you can see, it's a 6-petaled flower, which is what many religions mean when they say, "In the beginning there were 6." It also influences Hebrew or Jewish religion, as this tree of life from Hebrew Kabbalah also comes out of the seed of life. In Genesis, all these different days represent different creations of God: land and sky, animals and plant, the sun and the moon, and man. What this means is that all these different things are just different expressions of the same divine energy or consciousness. We are all just different masks of God, or of the one that manifested itself to be the many. We are all this conscious energy manifested into different physical forms. Everyone and everything in the universe is nothing but that, different apertures through which source experiences itself. God is a metaphor for the universe. This is why Genesis says, "God created man in his own image."
Oh, we've got your ass.
Y'all thought I was gonna stop on that? Hell no, I'm gonna keep going. I ain't got time to be arguing with you people.
We've got your
I ain't trying to convince nobody of nothing.
So it turns out,
you believe what you want.
Antarctica, there's more land. The reason
Hey, you know what though? Real talk. To hit on that, look, I'm that person. See, that's why when I had that live phone call and the dude was trying to talk all this other shit to me. Look, I make this platform in a way because I want people to be just believe in what you want to believe in. You do your own research, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever floats your boat. I just want to let y'all know I don't want to influence what you think as far as like your religion, your beliefs, your spirituality, none of that shit. That's up to you. Each individual person. My goal is to get everybody just thinking outside the box and, you know, try to strive to just be a better person. That's it. You know, I'm not here to convince you of anything. So I don't want nobody taking up, oh, you gotta, don't do that with me. I'm cool on that.
I don't want you to believe that you live on a globe. Because
cool.
if the world was round, that would mean if you travel in one direction, you would come back on yourself. But if the world was flat, that's a whole different story. You see, you can travel anywhere in the world. Anywhere. No matter how far you travel, you will never come back on yourself. Never. If you look into the center of this map, you'll see the continents.
What's that about?
Africa, Europe, America, so on. And you see that ring of ice? That's Antarctica, so they say. But if you travel past that ring of ice, there's more land, and they got the maps to prove it.
Okay, teach me about the fifth dimension. Okay, but this is where it gets kind of difficult and trippy and weird. I'm all ears. So a person living in the fifth dimension has full control over time. They're able to move through past and future at will, and it would also be possible for them to be present at different locations simultaneously. Come on, what you're describing to me right now is a god. No, I'm merely describing what would happen if someone had full control over the time dimension. But it gets even trippier than that. A fourth dimensional being would also be able to do these things, but in 5D space, parallel universes exists. Wait, what? Yep, infinite timelines where each decision you make leads to the birth of a new universe. However, in 5D, your only limitation is you won't be able to jump into these other timelines. But this is just the tip of the 5D iceberg. Like I said before, this is all theoretical. There's not really a way to actually perceive these higher dimensions. I mean, there is, but what do you mean there is? You see, your soul is a multi-dimensional being. However, your body and mind is not. Therefore, 5D cannot be understood with the limited 4D mind, though 5D can be felt through consciousness. Wait, really? You're being serious? Yes, but you cannot have a memory of 5D since memories are 4D constructs as well. You may have a memory of a transcendent experience, but the actual 5D connection can only be truly felt in this present moment. So all I have to do is be present to connect to 5D? No, the answer is love. Transcendent and unconditional love is how you connect to the 5D space, but not the desire-based thing that many people call love. Love is a deep, heart-based connection, a feeling of oneness with all things. This is the beginning of understanding 5D. Whoa, I can imagine 6D space being even trippier. But hey, where do you learn this weird shit from anyway? Jake Eisen, bro. He's doing a series on dimensions for some reason.
And that's right there why you have to, like, why I preach that positive shit. Like, you have to, like, bro, like, when you're angry out here, just not even talking about the whole 5D, whatever dimensional thing you want to talk about, but let's talk about right now, like your actual life that you're in right now. Just have more control over the things that are currently happening when you are in a positive space. Your judgment is not clouded. You can think appropriately and you can make the right decisions for, your future timeline. Yeah. That dude get deep. He probably be losing people sometimes though. It's kind of, you gotta do repetitions with these videos. You can't just binge that type of shit, his particular shit, because you get lost in the sauce sometimes with some people. Because I have some people watch these videos and they just don't know what's going on. And I understand because it's a lot to digest, especially for people that's just getting into this type of, content. Yeah, you attract what you are. And that's definitely, like, look at y'all. This is dope, man. Make sure everybody smash that like button. We almost got like 5,000 people in here. Smash that joint. It is getting late, man. For a lot of y'all. Appreciate y'all showing up. I'm gonna do another live tomorrow. This one is gonna be a little bit different. If y'all interested, it's definitely gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be some shocking content. I'm just gonna put it like that. It's gonna be very shocking, very revealing, and just hopefully look, man, look. Y'all just put those notifications on. We're gonna do this again, probably around the same time tomorrow. And then after that video, we're going to do the call-in. We're gonna do the call-in. We're definitely gonna do the call-in. Yeah, damn, Zay, you missed it, bro. You asleep? Bro, asleep. Hey, we'll connect, though. You already know what to do. Oh, you were smoking? Okay, yeah. We connect, definitely. My man Zay said he gonna get on here and talk, too. So, hey, shit about to go up. Shit about to be lit, man. But look, I'm gonna call it a night, man. Love y'all. Make sure y'all taking care of yourselves and your family. Stop eating that processed food. We'll cut back anyway. It's hard. I get it. Cut back on that shit. Drink you some H3Os. So that's drinking your fruits. Go ahead and juice your fruits and everything. But tomorrow I will have the links for all the stuff that I use in my description of my videos. But love y'all. Good night. Appreciate y'all for showing up. Get back to it tomorrow.